Hi, I'm so sorry. There's no question that this is extremely painful, and your pain is real and warranted and allowed. You shouldn't be feeling guilty for feeling pain. And everybody who comes to me has the same issues. Some much worse. Some literally, just much worse. But it's not a competition. The point is, though, that this is a world of people that you can absorb chizuk from them. It's not just going, a overweight person goes to the dietitian and it's like, oh, I'm sorry I failed you as a dietitian. First of all, you never have to apologize to me. You're not failing me, you're not failing TP. There's no TP, there's no me. I'm just here to help you, to try to save your daughter's life and to get you on top of the wave so you can deal with the pain and realize that Hashem gave you a Nisayon, a challenge, by giving you this child, and you're being Omed bin Nisayon. You are standing up to it every day that she's alive, and every day that she's home. Frankly, you should feel like a hero. Now, I know you don't want this challenge. Nobody wants their challenges. Nobody wishes their challenges on their biggest enemy. But the bottom line is, this is what you were given. And the way to save her is by showering her with tremendous love and not having any judgment, because I could tell you, based on my experience, that whatever she's doing, she is the sweetest, most amazing kid, and she would have given you tons of nachas and been normal if not for the fact that she got very, 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 very hurt. Especially tattoos. Even goyim who get tattoos, there's some level of normalcy, and then the rest, people understand that people who look like her, that it's tremendous pain. These are scars. These are scars from pains, no question about it. Now, regardless of why she's behaving, I bring that out just because we really should have tremendous compassion for someone who is so messed up and who didn't need to be this way, but obviously somebody really hurt her. But even if, let's say, whatever other reason there is, the bottom line is that you want to see her get better. You want to see her get emotionally better. You want to see her get spiritually better. You want to see her to get functional and happy and straight and all these things that we've seen that TP really works. It doesn't mean that parents, while they're doing this, don't feel so broken. The first step is that when we really feel the pain of the child, then the parents say, eventually they come to a place, and it takes work, and they say, like, my pain as a parent is so huge, but I don't have time for it because I'm crying for my kid, because it's her life that's destroyed. So there's place for your pain, of course, but when you think about her pain and where she is compared to where she would have been, it's literally like watching someone who got hit by a truck and is in a wheelchair, the wheelchair of life, and watching everybody else run, and she can't function. She can't function. She's ripped away from the life that she would have had. And she's in enormous pain. She went through times of pain, and also before you came to me with bad advice, times of pain that somebody like her shouldn't have, and her body shows it. Her scars show it, the tattoos, and also the self-harm, and she's been through more pain probably than any person since the Holocaust. She's in that category of people that were put into so much pain. Not your fault, but that's the kid that God gave you. Now the question is, okay, how are we going to respond to this patient? How are we going to respond to this child? How are we going to carry her through these painful years so that also, number one, we're helping her. Number two, she can recover, and we can get that healthy, functional nachas that we've seen so many hundreds of kids get, which is what you want. So it's also, look at the parents who don't do this. They prolong their own pain because they're crying over the averis of their kid, the dysfunction of the kid, the messed upness of their kid. But then by the way that they behave towards the kid, causing the kid more pain and feeling more pain and more unattached. and feeling homeless and feeling like my own parents can't look at me and not having love from their mother and their father puts them in much more pain, much more at risk, much more vulnerable, and much more years of sin and dysfunction and craziness, which causes the parents to have much more pain. Like I once told a father, he said, I can't look at my son because, of the sin. I said, okay, but if you don't look at him, then that thing that's causing you pain, which is the sin, is going to be much more sin, and for many more years. That's why the Chazon Ish said, and this really is so many other tzaddikim, but the Chazon Ish lived 100 years ago, something like that, and he really, really established by telling the parents to buy the car for their child who said, I'm going to drive it on Shabbos. He established that anything that's mutter to do according to halacha, which that is, that's what you should be providing, because then you have influence, and then you could have nachas. And the parents who follow that give themselves years of nachas. If it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, even if it takes 10 years, but then from 10 years from now until you pass away, you could have nachas. And the ones who don't have the rest of their life the same level of pain and crying and all of that and embarrassment. And so you're causing yourself pain. So please understand that I'm not judging you at all. I never said or think that I could do better than anybody. And I'm just a coach. And I have tremendous respect for you and for the other parents that are going through this. So you have to make a commitment and say, we have this pain. The pain really is ours for having a child like this. And then there's this enormous amount of pain when I think about what she has gone through in her young life, which is horrific, horrific pain. And then I think, okay, so now how am I going to deal with this? I'm going to emotionally massage her nefesh. I'm going to emotionally massage her soul so she feels loved. She feels liked. She feels that she has a mommy and a daddy who love her the way she is. Like when Nebuch, God forbid, a kid is hit by a car and is in a wheelchair, there's so much pain of the parents, our kid can't walk, and the kid can't walk, and the kid's pain. And the kid shows his mommy, look, I just did a wheelie. And the mother has to say, like, wow, because she can't compliment him for anything else because he can never walk again. And he does a wheelie, and you have to be able to say, wow, that's amazing. And yes, we feel terrible that it's about a wheelie doing a spin on the wheelchair. That's not what we ever dreamed. But that's the kid we have now. And that kid now needs compliments, needs to feel, wow, it's amazing. Let's go. Wow, it's terrific. And we're rooting for you, and we're here for you, and we understand you. We don't judge you. Of course, the parents of a child like that cry when they cry, but not in front of the kid. Like you're very smart. You don't do that. But they realize it's the kid the kid is the patient. I always tell the story of somebody that I know whose son, wonderful, beautiful son, at 7 years old, caught on fire, and most of his body was burned. He went through about 96 surgeries. I remember they were saying the kid was like, oh, I can't wait till I get to 100. And he lost his ears and his mouth and his hair and most of his body. Now, the whole family went into turmoil for years while the kid, he had a trach, and then he had, he couldn't, I stayed with him one night in the hospital. It was horrific. The whole life, they couldn't work, and they couldn't take care of the kids and the other kids, and they have a big family. And the father, of course, the father and mother cried over their own pain. But there's no room for that when you think about the kids screaming in pain. And the pain that this kid went through. And the father told me that somebody told him, remember, even though you are in so much pain, the mishaberach that they make for a chayla, is your son. He's the one who's the patient. He's the one who's in more pain than you could ever imagine. You still have a marriage and other kids and a life. And this kid, his whole life is ruined. And I was there 6 years later by his bar mitzvah, and then he had surgeries and whatever. And now Baruch Hashem, he's a chassan, and he's so great. He still has a lot of scars on his body. And he has a tremendous spunk, a tremendous spark. But his parents, their job was to take care of him and make sure that emotionally he's getting everything that he can. Physically, the doctors were doing it, but they would also do, of course, everything that they could. But he shouldn't lose out because he's not in school. He shouldn't lose out because he looks different, very different, and he should feel good about himself. And he grew so emotionally strong because his parents are so wonderful. They didn't show that we're embarrassed to walk with you. They didn't show anything. And most parents would be the same when it's physical illness. It's much harder over here. But we know that she went through hell. And God gave you this child, and there's a reason. And we know that the response is tremendous ahava, love. And look how she asked you. She wanted you to praise her. She wanted your approval. It's very hard to approve of things, just like, that we don't hold of. Just like the Chazon Ish told the parents, buy a car for your kid who said, I'm going to drive the car on Shabbos. And the father said, no deal. And then they went to the Chazon Ish and he told him, buy the car. Gershon Edelstein Zatzal, the Rosh Hashiva of Panovich, who knew the story firsthand, said that he knew the parents, and they did not listen to the Chazon Ish. They couldn't do it. They couldn't bring themselves to buy a car for their son, but who said, I'm going to drive Chil Shabbos B'Fahesia. They could not manage to do it. And the kid never came back to Yiddishkeit. Instead of dealing with their pain and following the way out of the tunnel, the way out of the pain, they couldn't have the emotional strength, and they lost their kid, and they had pain for the rest of their life. The kid never came back. If they would have listened to the Chazon Ish, for sure, the kid would have come back. That's what the Chazon Ish said. With his bracha and following him, Emunas Tzadikim, we follow the Chazon Ish. We provide everything that the Rav says is halachically permissible, and we smile. Now, how are we supposed to smile? This kid's going to drive a car, and you're so happy. Oh, wow. No, we understand that spiritually that this is terrible, but we also understand the difference between the sickness and the medicine. And even though we cry if someone has chemo, it can kill, and chemo is so painful. But we also understand that pain is the pain of the medicine killing the pain of the cancer that can kill a human being. So we also have to understand that the things that we do that are also painful, but it's the pain of the medicine. We are going to give her a mom and a dad who adore her, because underneath all of her scars, her self-harm and her tattoos and her confusion is your daughter, a pure, beautiful, wonderful soul who never did anything to hurt anyone, who never tried to hurt anyone. All of her pain was done to her, or a reaction that she had when she was mistreated by bad advice. But she never hurt anybody. She's not hurting you. You're hurt by her pain that caused her to get a tattoo. You're hurt by her, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, I feel like if I was her lawyer, I would say, I'm so sorry that my messed up life, that somebody stabbed me, and now I have scars, and my life is ruined. I'm so sorry that causes you so much pain, mommy. Like, really? Should she apologize? This happened to her. She did not ask for this. She would trade places with somebody else in a heartbeat. She's not a bad kid at all. She's a sweetheart. And if she wasn't your kid, so you didn't feel all that pain, you would know exactly what to do. You would smile at her and say, how you doing? And if you were a mentor, you take her out for food and you just make her laugh and smile, which at the minimum is being kind and compassionate and putting a smile on someone who went through so much pain. It's like going to the old age home to visit an old person and sing with them and make them happy for a half hour. Does that make them not old? No, but we do that. Why? Because you go to someone old and lonely and in pain or in a hospital, and Mikimi, these great organizations and singers, they go and they sing for the person. Why? First of all, you're going to someone who's not mainstream, able to go to school, work, and all of that, and is in tremendous pain, and you're giving them some happiness in this world. Greatest mitzvah in the world. Also, the emotional feeling of happiness also happens to help a person recover. They know now, even from physical illness, but her, everything is mental. So make her mind, emotional, mental, psychological, make her so happy. And eventually you'll come to the place that parents come, where first of all, they have no time to cry for themselves because they feel their child's pain. And they also feel a tremendous relief because I know what I have to do and I'm doing it. And when you do it successfully, you put aside any midos, any character traits that are making you not focus on your kid, and you just love your kid, ahavas nefesh, the same way that if God forbid something happened to her, you would never stop crying for her. I told someone, I don't like saying these morbid things, but sometimes people need a wake-up call, and I don't mean it to be painful. God forbid something happened to her, what would you say? You were such a sweet girl. You were so good. You meant to be so good in this world. Oh, I wish you were here. I love you so much. What I would do for one more, all that stuff. Say it now. Say it now while hug her, keep her in your arms. Tell her how much you love her and care for her. Not the scars on the outside and the activity and the confusion and all. That's all because of her pain. See the child under the pain. See the child that needs a mommy and a daddy to really make her feel special. So she's not vulnerable, because kiyodua, like everybody knows, the boys, and especially the girls who don't feel that love from their mom and their dad, will seek it from somewhere else. So at the minimum, you're making a very pained person smile and feel good and be happy. That's the minimum. When you see her smile, that makes you happy. Because you're making someone in pain smile, and you're making your child in pain have less pain and smile. That's number one. And number two, that's the Yeshua. That's the refuah. That's the medicine for her emotionally, that God forbid she shouldn't hurt herself. And she shouldn't end up like so many kids who are rejected, because if she would be rejected by you, what are her chances to be alive in a few years from now, to be functional, to be a human being, functional, physically alive, and well, without an eating disorder and without drugs and without being a piece of garbage in her own mind and doing terrible things? It's so obvious. So you're saving her life. You're giving her a home. You're giving her a mommy. You're giving her a daddy. You should be so proud of yourselves that you're standing up to the big, great challenge in the highest way, with putting putting everything on yourself. That I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to be happy with her. I'm going to see the child underneath her. I'm going to make her feel my love, my like. I'm going to say, come, let's go. Let's spend time together. Let's go out to eat tomorrow night. Tell her, you know what? I just haven't spent enough time with you. Tomorrow night after work, let's go out to eat. And just enjoy her. And I see pictures of her, and she's smiley, and she wants you. She's not rejecting you. So many kids, because of the way the parents rejected them in the bad times, reject their parents, and we have to wait a long time until the kid will open up and allow themselves to love and to accept love and trust the parents again. Over here, she wants you. So this is the focus right now. You're in the emergency room with your kid. If it was physical, you would find the time, the money, the energy. You wouldn't not visit her in the hospital. Over here, the hospital is wherever she is. And the medicine is you. The medicine is your heart. The medicine is your feelings towards her. You're her medicine. And nobody can give the medicine of the love and the like, I like you, of a mother and a father. And you're stepping up to the challenge. It doesn't mean it feels good. It doesn't mean it's easy. No, it's a tremendous challenge, but you should feel so good about yourselves. Every time you take her out, every time you go on a trip, every time you go, you just do and do and do and do, and you write those beautiful cards and you make her smile. We don't buy our kids' loves. You're showering her with showing her your love to make up for all the times that you didn't, and to make up for the doubts that she has that she's lovable. A kid told me, my own parents don't like me. And if my own parents don't like me, that means I can't be a lovable person. And within a few days, he tried to kill himself, and he almost succeeded. He broke most of his body. He rammed a car into a wall at like 120 miles an hour. Because he said, I can't be likable if my own parents don't like me. That's the mistake that people make. They advise the parents to take away love, take away like. Oh, you can't show that that's okay. You can't say you like that if it's not what you do. Or yes, you can. You have to. The Chazon Ish shined the light. Chazon Ish opened up that understanding. And many, Raising Royalty is full of hundreds of stories. All the GEDOLIM really say the same thing. Baal Shem Tov said the same thing. And we bring it down to a practical way, like the story of the Chazon Ish. If a parent could buy a car that the kid says, I want a car, but I'm gonna drive it on Shabbos, and the Chazon Ish said, buy it, because then you have influence. Influence is unspoken. If you have to talk, that's not influence. It's unspoken. It happens through connection. And that's the same thing that people are learning now, that's what saves people from drugs. That's what takes people out of being super depressed and anxiety and cutting themselves and hurting themselves and eating disorders. How many kids, in the group that had eating disorders and are healed completely just from TP? That's what we're doing. We're healing the Nefesh HaAdam. We're not, it's not just this exterior thing. People think, oh, spoil kids. We're doing an operation on emotions, and we're super successful. And Be'ezras Hashem, you are going to be super successful. It's very painful, but if the doctor tells you, listen, there's like a 80% success rate, 90%, I think our success rate is even higher. But we certainly have a high success rate, so have hope. Channel your pain into tefillah and say, Hashem, I'm in a lot of pain, but I know this is going to be successful. Have faith in Hashem. Have faith in your child. Have faith in what we are doing, because you're doing a method that is proven that it works. There's enough data on that. And is the derech HaTorah. And at the very minimum, you're not using any negativity. No yelling, no screaming, no crying at her, no pressure, no anxiety at her, no guilt, all that stuff that you tried that failed. You're not using any bad midos, no kas, no anger, no screaming, nothing. You're using just the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim. Just the 13 attributes of mercy. That's why we have the shiurim on time of Devar, Rachum and Chana and Erech HaPayim. You're just being godly to her. You'll keep score. You want to see if she's good or bad. You'll decide that in 5 years from now. Go down the line, you'll see she's good. If you don't see it now, I see how good she is. I could see through her pain. I could see a beautiful neshama, a chelik elokam yimal mamish, that's literally as good as every other one of your children and every frum kid. She's frum. What do you mean she's frum? But she has this, and she doesn't do. She's frum. Just like everyone in the hospital is frum, even if they don't put on tefillin, and even if they have scars, and even if they're frum. She's frum. She just can't behave in a frum way because of the pain that other people did to her. And then she should feel abandoned by her own mother and father? She's not shuldig. She never did anything wrong in her life. She's not to be blamed. None of this is her fault. She didn't want any of this. So you're going to heal her emotionally and be'ezras Hashem, emotionally, and then she's going to become healthy and happy and functional and yismach leiv mevakshei Hashem. You saw how many weddings we have in TP now. You see how many kids are becoming from. How many kids fasted Yom Kippur this year that didn't fast in the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and this year they fasted Yom Kippur. Why? Because the parents are being good to them. And that's the channel of emotional and spiritual health, as I've seen with my own eyes. Be proud of yourself. Don't be like crumbling. You're not being punished. Remember the part of the TP training? This is not a punishment from God. All the tzaddikim said, you're not being punished because there's no sin you could have done that is great enough to deserve to have this pain. And there's no sin that she could have done to deserve to have this pain. So this is not from this Gilgal. This is not from this round. This is something that we don't understand, that it's from God, that you, for whatever reason, have to be good to this neshama unconditionally, without expectations, just because it's your child. Who knows? Maybe in a previous Gilgal, you threw her out of the house. Maybe you stabbed her. Maybe you were, who knows? We don't know anything. We know that you have to be good to her and like her and like what she likes, even though it's not what you like, and compliment her and make her feel that she's loved and she's not a stranger in a family I'm so different than everybody else. I got to get out of here. I feel choked. No, you're one of us. The same way we would if one kid gets hit by a car. You're one of us, and now our family looks different than we dreamed. We have, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, and we have one kid in a wheelchair. God forbid. They used to give away kids with Down syndrome, special needs. Now, Everybody keeps them, I think most people. And now we know that you should go over and ask a bracha because they're special neshamas. You could ask her for a bracha. You could ask her for a bracha. This the China Rebbe Reblazes, the China said that Kach kibalnu merabisenu. This is a Kabbalah going Tairas Moshe Misinai. This is going way back. He got this Kabbalah from his 3 Rabbeim. He told us in group, and he said that the same way that the DIVREI, the Satmar Rebbe said, that if you see a Holocaust survivor with a tattoo, even if they don't keep Shabbos, you can go and ask them for a bracha because of the pain that they went through. When you see kids like your daughter who have tattoos from their own personal Holocaust, regardless of where their observance is right now, what they can do in Yiddishkeit, even if they're Mechal Shabbos, you could ask them for a bracha. And I've seen the recovery. So you got to listen to the testimonies. It's over 600 testimonies. You got to bake this in. This is the only thing you read is the TP manual and Raising Royalty. The only thing that you listen to is the testimonies of the parents, the groups, the part of the TP app that's GEDOLIM stories and everything that you need and all the tricks that we have. And you just do as much as humanly possible, same as you would naturally do if it was physical illness. We had over here parents that they, for a few years, were doing so much for their kid. And then one day the kid had a headache and the doctor diagnosed that he has a tumor. And for a few weeks, they thought they were looking for, it was terrible. And then afterwards it was a miracle. It was a misdiagnosis. And the parents said for those few weeks, suddenly everything we were giving him and all the money we were spending and all the time and effort and energy and then he was smoking in his room and all the complaints and all the noise, nothing bothered us. And when someone said, wow, you're doing so much for your kid, they said, what? No, our kid is sick. They said they were doing much more in those 3 weeks for him because they didn't focus on themselves at all. They just focused, hey, this poor kid could die. And then they realized, oh my gosh, he could have died from all the other stuff. He was suicidal. He was on heavy drugs, etc., etc. But when it's physical illness, nobody even thinks about their own pain. You go to a mother and say, wow, I feel so terrible. You slept a whole night at the hospital by your daughter's bedside. You slept in a chair and you ate bikur cholim food. I feel so bad for you. And she'll say, I'm a mother. That's my job. Of course, yeah, you can be nice and get her a massage and you could take a shift. But the bottom line is real parents would say, well, what's the question? Well, it's so nice of me. I didn't do it for a stranger. It's my kid. You're not being super nice. It's your kid. You're giving her the biggest gift in the world, saving her from death by giving her a home where she feels alive and she feels wanted. Because if you feel unwanted by your parents, there's no life. Absolutely not. And you should be proud of yourself that you're doing that, even though it's embarrassing to you. And even though you have neighbors, I told you go around the block with your arm around her 3 times. Zeh kaparasi, zeh chalifasi, zeh tmurasi, 3 times. And then you don't have to worry about what anybody says. Yes, this is my daughter. This is the way she looks. This is her haircut. This is the way she dresses. And these are her tattoos. And these are her scars. That's it. Now, nobody could ever talk about you behind your back. And that's it. That huge mountain of oh, my yomer habriyos, what are people going to say? Pops, as soon as you don't care. It's hard. Do it one time and you're done. This is the kid that God gave you. You didn't do anything to deserve it because there's no sin you could do to deserve this pain. You're suffering, but you're doing something beautiful and godly with every hug, with every kiss, with every gift, with every smile. With every smile you put in her heart, with every time you revive her, you are the respirator to revive her to want to live. And nobody can do that besides you. Hashem will help, and you'll see this is a beautiful, painful, but very beautiful process that's going on. For some reason, this is what Hashem wants from this generation, to see parents willing to do anything to save their kids' lives. and to put their kids' needs before everything, before themselves, and to love their kids, even though the kids are not what they dreamed that their family picture will be. And there's no question before Mashiach comes that this is what Hashem wants from us, because you see, the tzaddikim say that you know what Hashem wants based on what's going on in the dar. Every generation has its challenges. And this is clearly a challenge that was not in the last generation. It wasn't around 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And maybe never around. I don't know. I'm not that old. But it wasn't around 30, 40 years ago. Not like this. Not like this, where we have kids every day, another overdose or suicide. I mean, and thousands more that want to and try to, and thousands more that don't try to, but that are miserable and dysfunctional, and psych wards full of Jewish kids. Why is your kid not in a psych ward? Because she has a mommy and a tati, a mommy and a daddy, a mommy and an abba. That's the only reason why she's not in a psych ward. That's the only reason she's not. I don't want to say all the other stuff that she would be, that you know she would be. You're saving her life every single day. There's no greater avodas Hashem that a person can do on this earth than what you're doing. And that should temper a little bit to make up, to balance out the pain that you have, which I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I really am. But you should also feel good. We're standing up to the challenge. We are not going to lose our child. We're not throwing her out. She's not bad. She's a sweet, beautiful soul that we are going to nurture back to life. And God willing, she will also become a frum, ehrlich, beautiful girl like we've seen so many times, and give you a lot of Yiddish nachas. But you should have nachas from yourselves, because you're doing the hard work every single day. And when you get over that hump, it won't even be hard. It'll be natural. Unleash your natural parental love, your mommy love, your daddy love on this kid. The love that you have inside of you for her. That love, that's what we're doing, is very natural. We're removing the barriers. Oh, I don't like this behavior. Oh, she did this. Oh, why is she that? Oh my gosh, she did, oh, the neighbor and what people are going to say. We're removing all of that garbage, human, normal, but garbage. And we're moving that out of the way, and we're just connecting the respirator. Like if you have a dead battery on a car and you want to revive it, what do? You get another car with a vibrant battery. You pop the hoods. You clean off anything that's in the way, if you have leaves or whatever, and you connect red to red, black to black, and you pump energy into that dead battery until it's running on its own. And she will never, ever forget you. She will live the rest of her life like we've seen. How kids are so dedicated to their parents giving back after they're healthy, because they realize, wow, you saved my life. You're saving her life every single day. Your friends who you're so envious of, they don't get a chance to do that. I know you wouldn't choose this. Nobody would choose this, but you are being Amid bin Asayim. You're standing up to the test. And God is so proud of you. And you can pray, Kirachim av albanim, like the mercy that parents have on their children, that we have on our child. Kain terachim Hashem aleinu, mida keneged mida. You are with so many TP parents at the forefront of extending the mercy that parents have for their children, like the Novominsker Rebbe Chizuk GEDOLIM said, and he told me, he said, Avi, I cannot believe the things that your parents, that you train, the stuff that they tolerate and that they do for their kids. It's unfathomable. He said it publicly, he said it privately, he told parents, he spoke about it when he was here at the Asif, he spoke about it to other people. He said, I never thought that parents could do this. And they're doing it, and it's a Kiddush Hashem. And you have the Tefillah of the Beramayim Chaim, who did this. This is what he did with his son Kalman. And you say his Tefillah every single day. God, look at me, I'm just a regular person. And if I can do this for my kid, you can do it for all of your children. Hashem, look, you know what we have that Hashem does not have? What do we have that Hashem does not have? We have neighbors. Hashem doesn't have neighbors to worry about. We have a budget. We get embarrassed. We have faulty character traits. We have all kinds of stuff, financial issues. God doesn't have any. You say, Hashem, I have all these issues, and still I'm showering this kid who could be ungrateful or was ungrateful, and I'm just doing it because it's my kid, because that's what you do when you have a kid, and you decided to call us your children, and you decided to say you're Avinu, and we are your children. So Hashem, you could twist Hashem's arm. That's what Rameir Primizlan said about his Rebbe, Reb Chaim Chernovitz, the Ber Maim Chaim. He said that his Rebbe was twisting Hashem's arm to bring Rachamim to the world, which is also what the Talmud DIVREI, the Ramak, says. Who knows how many lives you're saving with your pain? Who knows how much you're bringing the Geula, how much you're bringing out Rachamim from Hashem, like parents of sick children do. But with physical illness, it's easier, you get more support, it's more natural, and you're doing it without all of that. You're doing it just because you're saving your kid's life. It's so painful, but it's so beautiful, because you're revealing the love that a parent has for their child above all, more than probably any parents in the history of the world. Hashem should give her refuah shalema, and you should be proud of yourselves for the work you're doing. And Bezrat Hashem, you're going to walk her down to this beautiful chuppah, and she's going to marry a boy that was born a boy. And she's going to be wearing, I don't know what you want her to wear, whatever it is. Dreams will come true. She's going to give you lots and lots and lots of nachas. I hope this helps. Let me know what else I can do for you. This is Avi Fishoff from Twisted Parenting. To be added to my broadcast, please send a WhatsApp request to 718-902-6666.